Hello and welcome to this special show on Rajya Sabha television. Here we take stock of the battle against COVID-19 pandemic. Now, while the whole world is trying to figure ways out to deal with this particular disease, which is COVID-19, in terms of finding therapeutic options, drugs, vaccines, as well as preventive measures also, we're going to today talk about one very important aspect which has obviously been a cause of concern during these 6 to 8 months, and that is the issue of domestic violence against women. Now, effectively, if we look at the data which is there on a global level, almost 1 out of 3 women does experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. But during this particular period, some of the countries across the globe have reported a surge of almost 30% in the cases of violence against women. So we'll try and understand the reasons behind that and also the steps which have been taken by various governments, including the government of India, to try and deal with this situation and what more needs to be done. For more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Ms. Rekha Sharma. She is the chairperson of National Commission for Women. We also have with us Ms. Rekha Agarwal, advocate in the Supreme Court of India, deals with these kind of cases. We also have Ms. Ragini Raj with us, a senior counsellor with the Association of People for Action and Rehabilitation. Welcome, all of you, to Rajya Sabha TV, ma'ams. And let me begin with you, Ms. Ragini. Let's start by looking at, these numbers and trying to understand them. What exactly do they convey?
Particularly, I'll refer more as we experienced for last 1 year, that is in Alberta and Canada, as well as some cases in Bangladesh. Particularly in COVID-19, domestic violence was, we cannot say that India had more and they had better. I must say that in Bangladesh, Pakistan, even in Mauritius, there are more reporting cases. When we compare this with Canada, there is more reporting, we can say. In India, we have got less reporting COVID-19. And exact figure, if possible, I'll mail. This is what, and more or more mental health suffers. And they don't have this much time capacity that they could recognize that this is the domestic violence. They could not understand that this is a domestic violence and they have to go ahead. So this is the basic problem. This is the basic issues which we found in Bangladesh more. And naturally, Canada was better aware. But domestic violence needs to be realized, first of all, for the women and also for the family. That is the main issue, which they don't realize. Once they get schizophrenic, once they get, physically hurt, then they come to know that, no, this is about domestic violence and we have to get a helpline. So this is the main issue in East Thing. We cannot say that it is more in something like that. According to me, it is like this.
Okay. Let me bring in Ms. Rekha Sharma here. Ms. Sharma, even in the Western countries, the figures are not very encouraging out there, specifically during this pandemic period. What's the experience as far as India is concerned in the past 6 to 8 months, and what does the number say here?
See, as far as NCW is concerned, we got double than earlier the domestic violence cases. Earlier also, if we see category-wise, the domestic violence cases are number 1, whether lockdown or not lockdown. But during the lockdown, the number have increased. That I think because firstly we started a WhatsApp number, which was not earlier there. Secondly, women could not reach to the police. And when I have taken a complaint, a meeting with DGPs from all over India, they said that complaints with police has decreased during the lockdown and after that, because women were not being able to reach to them. They were reaching to us. Maybe that's why our number has increased, but police number is showing that it has decreased. I know because of lockdown, women were not being able to share it with the family, with the friends. So there has to be some way they could reach, and they found that NCW was reachable and they reached to us. And that's why we got so many complaints. And also because of the mental tension which they were suffering, because they were small houses, they were not even able to talk on phone with their family and share their problems, and all that accumulated, and that's how they started reaching. And let me tell you another one point, that whosoever reached to us, they were saying that we are facing this domestic violence from number of years. They never said that it has just started because of lockdown. They said we have been facing that, but we cannot take it anymore. That means because they were not being able to share it with anybody at those at that period, they reached to us for the help. And there also they didn't want police intervention in many cases, unless in India, unless it is too much to take, and they don't even want police to intervene because they don't want to break their families. As Ms. Raj also said that they don't even know what is domestic violence unless it is physically hurting. Domestic violence is not about beating someone. It is mental tension, mental torture. It is about abusive language. It is about also financially, if you are keeping someone away from day to day requirements, that is also domestic violence. But people here, most of the people, you don't even know that they are facing domestic violence, and sometimes they, because of they are not independent, they don't have any place to go, they just keep on taking domestic violence. And that's how women in lockdown period, they realized that they cannot take it anymore, and they reached to us.
Okay, okay. Let me bring in Ms. Agarwal here as well. Ms. Agarwal, how do you view the situation as far as domestic violence is concerned, specifically during this pandemic? And as both Ms. Sharma and Ms. Raj are pointing out that this is basically a mental health issue. Obviously, it translates into physical violence as well. But then, the victims need to realize that, yes, they are under duress.
You're absolutely right, and as the other two speakers pointed out, that domestic violence is not only physical abuse, it could be mental, it could be verbal, it could be just abusive language, it could be financially depriving somebody, of day-to-day requirements. So in our country, now talking about domestic violence, we have, let us first accept the fact that, we have a patriarchal mindset, and domestic violence is more a way of life. For many women, a very, very sad state of affairs, but for many women, it is a part of their life. They don't even realize that this is something that they have a right to object to. This is a constitutional safeguard that they have a right to live their life with dignity, with their head held high. Even whether they're married, whether they're unmarried, whether they're a daughter or a sister or a mother or a wife, or even an unmarried girl, she has the right to live life with dignity. But unfortunately, in our country, physical violence or any kind of violence against women has become a norm. It has been a norm, as I said, because of the patriarchal mindset. And in the days of the COVID, in the last 6 to 8 months that we are facing this unfortunate pandemic the world over, the situation has become worse because up till now, at least women have some recourse to vent out their feelings and share their problems, whether it is with the police, whether their friends, their relatives, or their parents, or with counseling centers. We have various NGOs like Sakhi, Jagori, etc. We even have the various women commissions like NCW, DCW. But now because of the pandemic, the practical problem that the women are faced is that they are confined in the four walls of their house. So they have to face physical or verbal violence inside the house on the domestic front. They cannot come out because outside they have to face the virus. They are faced with lockdown. They practically become like prisoners. So that psychological pressure, the depression that women have been facing, where they have not been able to find a way for their problems, that is what has aggravated the situation. Even in 2005, we have this beautiful law called the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act, which not only protects married women or unmarried women, but also protects women who are in a live-in relationship. So we have this beautiful law in our country, which is sufficient to protect women from any kind of violence whatsoever. But this situation of the lockdown has definitely made it worse when men, the predators, have now found an easy way out to prey upon the frangibility of women. They know that the woman has got no way out. Where is she going to go? As the wife said, kahan jayegi? Aakhir mein kahan jayegi? That is, she's got no way out. She's totally dependent upon me, the man, the man who's supposed to be the provider. The mindset is that she's got no place to go. She's going to be dependent upon me physically, financially, emotionally, and that has made the situation worse. Women have not been able to access the various helplines, whether on the mobile. Very often these mobile numbers are not easily accessible. The women helplines are not easily accessible. Nobody picks them up. It has an unfortunate practical problem is there. So because of all these situations, things have definitely become worse for women, and the situation needs to be tackled. The Delhi High Court, Honorable Justice J.R. Midha has taken a very strong stand in this regard, where on a petition filed by NGO, he has called for a high-level report as to what the government is doing about this domestic violence situation, which has to be tackled now. The vaccine for the pandemic may come later on, but domestic violence problem is a day-to-day problem that women are facing, and a solution has to be found to provide them succor from physical violence, from emotional violence, and from financial violence, which they are facing not only at the hands of their husbands, but it can also be the hands of their fathers, their brothers, and even from the other women members who are living in the same household and sharing the same domestic relationship.
Okay.
It is not always the man who is the predator. It can also be the woman who is making the life of another woman more unreasonable.
Okay. Okay, definitely. It is, a real big problem, as you pointed out, Ms. Agarwal, and we'll come to the aspect of what is being done and what are the remedies out there, and one, law you spoke about. We'll look at those aspects also, but let me first bring in Ms. Ragini again here. Ms. Ragini, as Ms. Agarwal is pointing out, this is basically, in this pandemic situation, it has become worse for women, specifically those who are, stay-at-home women specifically. If effectively their personal space has been squeezed during this pandemic. On top of that, their responsibilities in the domestic care aspect have grown manyfold. So this has caused a lot of duress for them, and that further results in those cases of violence against them.
I truly agree, and I'm very happy that Rekha ma'am is also here. Very soon we shall meet, and I'm very much thankful to NCW that they have started the thing of the registering NRI cases and all. Particularly, I can cite the example of Alberta, because our representatives are there, and this I'm talking about the European country as well as in the Bangladesh. We ran one WhatsApp number. It's a 7065415415. It's the WhatsApp number. In fact, that is also connected with me. What we can at least do, that we can say at the initial stage, no, that this is domestic violence now. In the beginning, because I don't want to make bigger issues. The one is this, that whether they are the slums of Kalkaji here, or the Bangladesh, or some of the European women, still they don't realize the domestic violence nature. So for this, we really want some awareness thing and a counseling session, as Rekha ma'am must agree that we used to organize in and around Delhi, in Mumbai and others. So time to time, wherever the survivors are there, we can pick those areas where the survivors of domestic violence are there. Many of our sisters and daughters are already, they died in this COVID-19. Some of them are have become schizophrenic. So what we can do, at least we can pinpoint those areas, and we can have this session like compulsory counseling. Counseling means people understand they are pagal, that's why they are coming. So counseling means you have to live in harmony. Counseling doesn't mean that you have become now mentally sick, so then you should come in the counseling. So such type of, mandatory form of counseling has to be introduced in schools, in the clusters, in the community centers. And RWAs have got a great role in every country. So if I feel that whether it will be weekend or something, but the of the women, irrespective of their economic class, because see, when we call slum dwellers, they think this violence goes on in slum dwellers.
Okay.
So we are the rich people, we don't face such violence. It is not like this. It is like this, that now we report, even I think NCW and Rekha ma'am will agree, we report more and more mental abuse from the upper section of the society. So when we call these women for the awareness or for the group counseling, we will take all type of the women, all section of the society, and they should be making aware that when you receive this type of things, once you receive a slap, once you receive a sort of comment, or once you are working for the whole night, once you are making feel that no, you have to watch the porn movie, then you have got to do this. So you have got to say these things, that these are also the form of domestic violence, and how you have to come and approach. So helpline number, at least from side of our NGOs that we are already running, it is 24 hours and it is with me. So presently we don't have any fund. We are working on our own.
Okay.
MSME, we are basically for the skill program. So at least this number is there. Once again, I shall repeat, that is 7065 415 415. This is a WhatsApp number. If we receive any complaint, we submit it to BCW, NCW, and to the respective of the European countries, as well as there in Bangladesh also. Presently, we are in Bangladesh and Alberta.
Okay.
Thank you, Vishal.
That number is really important out there, and I'm pretty sure our viewers would have taken note of that. But one aspect, since you're involved with in this particular field as an activist, and on a daily basis you deal with certain problems, you spoke about the awareness campaign as well, making women aware so that they come out and report any cases or any threat to them of physical violence or even mental harassment out there. But why not, push this awareness campaign to the other half of the society as well? Why not make the perpetrators also aware of what not to be done?
Sit down, Mama.
We need help from that side to the men's society, because the moment we go and talk about domestic violence patient and please come, then all the brothers, whether they are the Bangladeshi or even the European Union, my own cousins are there, so they will say, okay, domestic violence, you talk to the women. So we need more support from our brothers and fathers, that we really want to have this awareness session for the family,
Okay. Ms. Sharma, your views on that?
See, I was about to say the same thing what you said, Vishal, because domestic violence is not, women are not doing domestic violence mostly.
They're the victims.
Yes, there are women also, but mostly men are doing. So we have to make aware men, and we need to change this mindset of people, society at large, families. So we should start from my family. If we start family to family, the changing of mindset, then only I think we will be able to tackle. If you listen to news today also, there is a DGP rank officer in MP who is beating up his own wife very brutally. So this is across the society, across any class, medium, middle class, lower class or upper class. There is no class as such which is in which there is no domestic violence. So because our mindset is, as Rekha Agarwal also said, that patriarchal mindset, that they think that they can rule on a woman, that mindset itself, to dominate a woman. Agar aise nahi manti to maar ke manao. She is something which can be ruled upon, which has to listen to man, which is secondary citizen. वो जो mindset है, unless we change that mindset in our own family, how a father is behaving with his wife, how a mother is behaving with both the genders, male and female children both, all this thing is seen by the young children, and that's how the society is now going down every day. Unless we start, and let me tell you, in this national education policy, there is so much good things are coming about gender studies, and how the mindset of young children need to be changed. Everything, I was going through another day this policy, and whatever NCW has been advocating, that we should start from very young age, what we should teach our sons, especially young boys, how to behave with young girls. And now this policy is addressing all these things, and hopefully next generation will be better than this generation, because we have to start it from the scratch. No law can change anything. unless we change the society and the mindset of the society. And this is my first awareness programs in NCW. The way we are taking with NALSA, the way and DALSA, I think these are the things. Firstly, women should know their right, and men should know that women also has got right.
Okay.
So these two things I think will change the society. But me and you and everybody, we need to start from our own homes. Then only maybe after a generation we will be able to change this.
Okay, okay. Ms. Agarwal, you mentioned in beginning the patriarchal mindset, and that's the aspect which, even I'm focusing on right now. And as both our panelists also pointed out, would you also agree that the focus should not be only on, educating women or making them aware, but making the other half, the other gender, male, men also aware that, yes, they have equal right and equal responsibility there, and also very important, teaching this concept of gender parity to the younger generation.
I fully agree with you on this, and I fully endorse the views of Madam Rekha Sharma ji also on this behalf. That see, the education, the real education first begins at home. We have to bring up, as the ex-chief minister of Uttar Pradesh had said, boys will be boys. They will commit crimes. Let them commit crimes, because that mindset continues, unfortunately, even at a high level as that of the chief minister, that boys can get away with murder. So the education has to begin from home, right from your own home, not from school. So the mother and the father both have to bring up their daughters and their sons in an equal manner, whether it is about their education, whether it is their food, their clothing, their medicine, their upbringing, everything has to be given equally, whether it is a male child or whether it is a female child. It is only when we, as mothers and fathers, as equal, as important members of the society, give proper education of equality to our children, teach our sons about their rights as well as their duties, impart education about gender sensitization at home, in school, in colleges, in society, in office places, everywhere, the world at large, gender sensitization has to be brought about so that patriarchal mindset changes. So that people do not go around saying that boys will be boys. They can do something which is illegal and get away with. Or even in movies, like very recently there has been a movie on Amazon Prime called Thappad. Many of your viewers may have seen that, where in a metro city, a very very urban environment they have shown, where the husband, out of frustration because he's not able to get the promotion to go to London, in a fit of rage, he slaps his wife in a party just because he's getting irritated by her, continuous calling him to join the party. And that one slap which he gives to her, and the husband is not able to get over the fact that, so what if I've only given, afterward it's only been one slap, only a thappad, so the wife should not be making such a big shindig about it. So if our boys are still going to have that kind of a mindset that they can get away with a slap, because it's only one slap, we women have the right to protest. We have the right to ask for zero tolerance. Post Nirbhaya, that fundamental right has been given to every woman of our country, that she has the right to say no, zero tolerance to any kind of illegal activity, whether it is home, whether it is in the society, or whether it is at the office space.
Okay. There it is. Thank you so much. So these are the views. I once again thank our panelists, Ms. Rekha Agarwal, Ms. Rekha Sharma, as well as Ms. Ragini Raj for sharing your views with us. As our panelists are pointing out, clearly, the women does have the right to living with dignity, as well as a right to go ahead and make a complaint. Also understand that no violence against women is acceptable as per law, and that should also reflect in our behavior in the society, in our own community, as well as in our own houses. We'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.